dudes, before you on the camera is one of the most high value knife purchases you can make in my opinion, and this review will go towards further justifying why. So this is the Kizer V3 Vigor model. So this is a about an $80 knife from Kizer, $80 to $90 you can get it. I've seen it as low as $75, as high as $90. And this is a G10 handle, VG10 blade, Chinese made knife that I really do keep up there with my, a question I often get asked, what's a great knife to start on, what's a great gift knife? The Rat 2, the Spyderco Delica, the Kershaw Skyline, all sorts, this is one of the best ones, it really is. So this one has been, I gave this to my father-in-law, and he used it at work for, I'd say, the better part of a year now. And it has been truly hard used. So I've got it just as he's given it to me. So I've asked him if I could take it back for review, and here it is. So this is what it's, it tells a story just looking at it. So the primary use for this knife is to open bags of grape mark, which is something in the wine production process. So that's like Hessian bags full of like gritty stuff. So done really, really well for that over and over again. And lately it's just been used. It's like when you get someone a knife and they just use the one knife. They're not like me who cycles through about 5 or 6 different ones. True everyday carry knife right here is what we're looking at. So the steel right now, it's pretty dull. I believe he sharpens it on a butcher's steel, maybe on a workshop from time to time, which probably accounts for the slight wave, slight recurve in the grind. Workshops tend to dig out a lot where you start, a little bit more at least over time. Just so you know. Be a bit careful with workshops if you are using them on small knives, but still got obviously a serviceable edge, but it's quite dull. Like it's certainly not what I'll be sending it back with. I've got some grit on the knife, which is washable. That'll come off. It's just like the crap you get from cutting stuff all day, every day. Let's have a look at the action. So I always thought this was a great action knife. Yep, still flicks open really, really well. It's actually quite, I think he's either tightened the pivot or maybe I tightened the pivot before I gave it to him. It's it's certainly not smooth to close, like certainly not like a drop-in knife, but it's very smooth flicking open still. Blade play, maybe the slightest hint of side to side, very slight though, and no up and down. The lock is still perfectly engaged, rather than what often happens is they move further and further over, so it's still about halfway there. Really well done. The G10's obviously pretty bomb-proof stuff, stayed great. The pocket clip, still perfect. This is just a really well-made, really high-value pocket knife. And regards to the steel, as I said in my recent knife steel roundup video, VG10, you know what? As long as you know how to sharpen, it's fine. It's probably about as good a steel as you'd ever actually need. The higher level steels are either for more specialized tasks or just for like if you really hate sharpening or don't want to sharpen as often, then it's when you get your Maximet and things like that. But this, just fine. So what I'm going to do is I'll clean it up. I'll get it working nice and sharp, and I'll get it nice and clean. I'll put some nano oil in there, and we'll get it back to him. But for you guys, through the magic of cinema, I'll be doing it right there. So that's nicely fixed up now. I've sharpened it. I've straightened out the edges best I could on the Tormek. Should be relatively pretty sharp there. Not too bad at all. So what a great sort of quite organic test really of a knife and how it lasts and how it performs through hard use over a good amount of time. And the Kizer V3 Vigor definitely seems to have passed that test, and now after a quick sort of spar, it is definitely back in the fighting fit form that I gave it away in. So there we go. Kizer Vantage Vigor, whatever they're called, V3 Vigor from the Vantage series. It's an excellent one, and really, really wholeheartedly recommend. I've heard a couple of people had some fit and finish issues on theirs, mentioned it in the comments to me, and that sucks, it really does. So just be aware, you might not get a perfect one, just from the anecdotal evidence that's been offered to me from others who haven't had the greatest time with these knives. But mine and the majority of other reviews I've watched and people I've spoken to who have this knife all seem really happy with them. It comes in black or olive drab green, so pick your poison there. And in terms of just being a really excellent little everyday carry knife, the only example I've got here is the Spidey Chef, which is a bit of a bigger knife there. That's what I'm carrying today. It's just a really good option in my opinion. So there we are. Thank you very much for watching, dudes, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.